What's up guys, welcome back to the channel again. Today we're going to be going over what exactly you're going to want to look for when buying a used motorcycle. So this actually is a 2005 Kawasaki Ninja 636 that I just bought a few weeks ago, and there's a few things here and there that are wrong with the bike. It's actually not running right now, so that's one of the reasons why the previous owner wanted to sell it. He just didn't want to deal with the mess of trying to figure out why it wasn't running. So I decided to take on the project, and we're gonna try and figure out, why exactly this isn't running. But, first thing I wanna do when buying a new bike is just kind of give it a good once over and really see, how the condition of the bike is, how it was treated, if there's anything wrong, any basic maintenance issues that need to be done and addressed, and just pretty much the overall condition of the bike. So one of the first things I really like to do is really check out the condition of the tires. You can see these ones are really worn down, really good. So one of the things that I'm gonna need to do is just get some nice new tires on here. Yeah, the front one's basically just all bald. Fork seals are another good thing. This one has leaking fork seals, you can see right there. A good way to tell if there's any issues with the fork seals is you can kind of see that little bit of oil. Let's see if we can zoom in on here. Kind of like this oily residue right here. And then sometimes people actually put rags, like zip-tied rags down here, just so that way the oil doesn't get all on the brakes and everything. So this one needs fork seals also. And the brake caliper on the front was removed. He actually said that the caliper needed to be rebuilt, so I'm going to need to get, I'll probably just end up buying a used caliper off of eBay, so I'll probably end up going that route. Another thing to look for is if there's any case scratches on the side of the cases. This one looks pretty good, but I could tell when looking at the bike that this has been repainted. You can kind of tell just because the bolts right there, the heads of the bolts are all the same color, and there's a little bit of overspray in the back, right in the back over here. So it looks good from, far away, but I mean, as you get up closer, you can see a couple little scratches right there on the side of the case. So this lets me know that the bike has been dropped before, but I'd say, probably 90% of the bikes that are out there have been, tipped over on their side at least once. So I'm not too worried about that. Another thing we're going to want to look for is kind of how the chain looks. We're going to want to see the condition of the chain. There's a little bit more slack in here than we would want, but I've seen some that are way worse, just, tons of slack. So that's really not too bad. The chain looks pretty good too. I mean, it's not all rusted or anything. So another thing I like to do is check the O-rings. Just see if there's, if there are any like dry rot or anything. But these ones look pretty good. So I'll probably just give it a nice cleaning on the chain and we should be good to go with that. Same thing for this side. Case looks good, but you can see those light scratches in there that it's been repainted. So I'm not too worried about it though. Another thing, some bikes are easier to get to than others as far as checking the coolant reservoir. And this looks good. It looks like it's got coolant just above the full line. So that's good. We know the bike has plenty of coolant. Just kind of give it a nice check for the frame, if there's any dents or scratches or anything. Looks like there might be a couple scratches on the side of the frame here, but like I said, I've dealt with way worse. Another thing that I like to look for is the oil level on the bike. So we're going to want to make sure the bike is standing upright. And you can see it's, just below that top fill line for the oil. So we know we got plenty of oil, so that's good. Also, a lot of the time when you buy a used bike, there's been aftermarket parts added to the bike, which, kind of increases the value a little bit. Not necessarily, but I mean, it's less money that you would have to dump in if you were to customize the bike your own. So we've got frame sliders here. So in case, if we were to dump the bike, that would protect the side fairings. We've also got a Yoshimura carbon fiber exhaust on here, which is still in really good condition. And the good thing about this one is this is actually a full system exhaust. It's not just a slip-on. So if you were to get a slip-on exhaust for this bike, it would normally be, I don't know, maybe around $350 to $400. But I can tell that it's the full system exhaust because if you look up here, we got the little Yoshimura stuff going on with the headers all the way up. So that way we know it's a full system exhaust, and that bumps the value of that exhaust up to probably anywhere around $900. And we also have power commander, so that's good. You know, if you wanted to tune the bike, if we had any other aftermarket parts on there. And there was also a GPR steering stabilizer, which I don't have on the bike right now, but it gets mounted right there. So just those three things alone are very valuable with aftermarket value on the bike. And another thing we have are steel braided brake lines. So that's another thing to look for. If we just had the regular OEM rubber ones, you know, those would be black and rubber. So the steel braided brake lines are another bonus to that. So one other thing that I did notice about this bike that is different compared to any other 636 that I've owned is normally on regular 636s, there's going to be like a break in the fairings right here, like where the nose piece would mount to the side piece. And you can see this is all one. And after looking at it a little bit closer, these are actually fiberglass fairings. So that's what makes me want to think that this might have been a race bike at one time, like a track bike. And you can see we've got these quick little detach, like D-ring screws right here. So we've got, you know, this whole front section piece is one, and then we've got this lower belly piece is all one. And you can kind of see in the middle, you can kind of see like the fiberglass texture on the inside of the fairings. So again, that's another thing that I've known to look for. One other thing that I like to check out is take the key, make sure the key works for the gas tank lock. I've ran into this a bunch of times where, you know, I get a bike back and I never check the lock and it won't open. And this one's giving me a little fuss, but this one does open, and I just like to check the inside of the gas tank and make sure there's no rust. I've ran into quite a few bikes that have some rust in the gas tank. Also, it's good to check out the condition of the rims. Just make sure, you know, follow all the way around, make sure there's no visible dents or bends in the rims of the lips on the bike. Make sure to do this for front and back. Looks like this is, rear one is good, and the front one looks pretty good too. So we don't have any bends in the rims, so that way I don't have to worry about getting new wheels or anything for this bike. You're also going to want to make sure to turn the bike on and just make sure the turn signals work, which looks like this one's not working right now. I think there's some plugs that might be not plugged in right now. So you can see these ones are working. I don't have the rear tail light on right now because that's on the tail piece, which isn't installed right now. But another thing you're going to want to do is just check the brake lights, front and rear, just to make sure that those are working properly, that when you apply the brakes that the rear brake lights are turning on. Brake pads are another key thing that you're going to want to look for when looking at a used bike that you're buying. This one's got a little bit of life left in the back, not too much, so I might want to get new brake pads for the rear. And we can check out the front brakes. And front brakes look pretty good. They still got a little bit of life left on them. So other than that, those are really the main things that I look for when buying a bike after I've got it, because I have no clue what the previous owners have done to the bike, messed with. Really, the only thing that I'm gonna do after this, after everything else that I've already checked out, is I'm gonna let the bike run, see how it sounds, make sure there's any loud ticks, knocks, noises that shouldn't be going on with the motor running. And usually I'll let the bike get up to temperature, make sure the fans kick on, that's also a key thing, and make sure it stays within temperature range so that it's not overheating. So unfortunately, this bike is not currently running. That's what I have to diagnose. I was told that the injectors need to be cleaned in order for the bike to run. So that's going to be my project for today. If any of you guys out there have any more questions about what to look for when buying a used motorcycle, feel free to shoot me a message in the comments below. If you guys found this information useful, make sure you like that video and subscribe if you haven't already. So until next time, I'll see you guys later. Peace.